I want to take you back to our garden space. It actually alternates between being a garden and being an animal pen. Right now we do not have any animals in it, except for these two puppers that are going to go in it with me right now. This is what we call the back garden, and I want to show you some pretty special plants. Not those ones that Juno was just peeing on. We're going to go past that spot. Look at how lush and green all of this is. And this is in a drought year. We got very little rain this year, and yet this whole space is just very lush. And that's because it was an animal pen for so long. Good, deep topsoil and very fertile. These are what I want to show you. This is Dandelion. And a lot of people say that they have not seen dandelions this big before. But these are absolutely wonderful, healthy dandelions, which I'm going to harvest for medicine. I already harvested some leaves a couple of weeks ago, and I have them soaking in tincture. Today, I want to go for the roots. So what we have here is we actually have a number of plants all together in one spot. So here we have, I don't know if it's within view of the camera or not, we have probably 3 or 4 plants. Here we probably have, I'm guessing maybe 5 or 6 plants. And that's pretty typical for dandelions to grow all in clusters like that. Now let's see. We haven't gotten any decent rain for a very long time, so we'll have to see how this does. Okay, so now that we broke up the ground, notice I came a little ways away from the root. That's because I don't want to break the roots if I don't have to. More than likely they did break down deep. I could hear some tearing and rending happening, but by backing up away from the plant some, we have a better chance of preserving some root mass. Some of these roots go laterally and kind of chase them through the ground. Now look at this. This main taproot did break. You can see main taproot did break. You can see those points of white, that's the latex coming out of the roots. But look at these. I have this one has a small plant just by itself. I have all of these side roots here, the main root. I have quite a bit of root mass just right here. So that should make me some really good medicine. I'll probably go ahead and dig 1 or 2 more clumps of dandelion as well and get some extra roots, but it shouldn't take me too much time given how big these plants are. Now, since I already harvested a bunch of leaves a couple of weeks back and I'm already using them for tincture, I'm going to go ahead and cut off these leaves. I don't need to take them back to the house. What I'm after is just the roots. And it's okay to discard the leaves. You know, we kind of have this idea that we should use everything. That is being used. It's being used right now as mulch and compost that is going to enrich the soil that is under it. One thing that dandelions do, because they have deep tap roots, is the roots go into the soil and they collect minerals and they bring the minerals up to the surface. When the leaves die, the leaves just fall on the surface of the ground, they decompose, and they deposit those minerals on the surface of the soil. So, you know, you don't need to make yourself feel some kind of false sense of guilt if you don't use the leaves. Yes, the leaves are wonderful medicine, and they can also be wonderful food, depending on if you get them during the right time of year. But it's okay if you don't want to use them for that. It's okay to go ahead and put them out as mulch and compost and just return those minerals to the soil. It's going to feed the soil microbes. It's going to enrich the soil biology in general, and it's okay. Some pieces of root that I pulled out of the soil while I was digging these plants. Okay, so let's see what I'm left with. Of course, this is going to need to be cleaned. I have to get off all that dirt, but this is all good medicine. It's not a lot of root, but I'll use it. Same with that one. So, that's a lot of root material right there. Okay, so I wanted to talk for just a moment about why dandelion. I have the roots and went ahead and I just picked up some of the leaves that I've just discarded and that I'm going to leave there. Both parts are really good. They're good for food and they're also good for medicine. I'm harvesting them for medicine. My intent in this video is not to give you an exhaustive list of every way that it can be used or every benefit that it can have for you, but there's just like some really cool things that are really exciting about dandelion that I thought I would share. Mostly I want to share with you what I want to use it for, and that is I'm creating tinctures, and also I'm going to make some dried material for teas, and that is going to be used to help cleanse my liver. So it's really good for increasing liver activity, and as you increase liver activity, that helps your liver to clean out, like if you have fatty liver tissue, or if you have kind of a buildup of toxins, or if your liver is just not working well. The more that you get your liver to activate, the more it's going to clear out all of those things, and you'll have a healthier liver. Healthier liver means healthier skin, means healthier digestion. It just has a whole cascade of effects. The leaves, you can bake them like as a boiled pot herb, where you just put them in a pan with butter, use real animal fats, put them in a pan with butter and just saute them until they're soft, kind of like cooking spinach or any other cooked green, and just have them as part of your meal. You can chop them into a salad. They're very bitter once the flowers have bloomed. And on these ones, the flowers had already bloomed, so these would be very bitter now. But still, you can chop them up and put them into a salad. The bitter component is actually what's really helpful for digestion. Now, even before they flower, they have a lot of bitters in them, so they're still excellent to use as a digestive, even before the flowers bloom. But also don't shy away from them after the flowers bloom. They become more bitter, so they actually are still just as good as ever for digestion. So that's the leaves. You can also put them into tea, cover them with boiling water and let them steep for a few minutes and make a tea out of them and drink that tea for digestion and to stimulate your liver and also your gallbladder. The roots are used somewhat similarly, only obviously you're not going to make cooked greens with the roots. You of course need to clean up all the dirt, chop them into pieces, and then once they're cleaned and cut, you can dry them and roast them and make like a coffee substitute that aids digestion and aids your liver health. Or you can also take them just fresh and put them into an alcohol solution, alcohol and water solution, to make a tincture. And then you can take that tincture to aid with digestion and to improve your liver health. And there's a lot of other things. You can use the flowers to make jelly, and you can use the flowers to make wine, and there's all kinds of things that you can do. But those are the kind of the main uses that I'm targeting with this plant. Is I really want to just improve how my liver is functioning, and it's going to help me lose weight. It's going to improve the appearance of my skin, and it's just going to help me with a whole lot of other things. Okay, I want to show you some additional features in our garden. Well, it's not much of a garden yet this year. I'm thinking I'm going to put a garden in here, but I'm not sure yet. Anyway, so this is the carnage left over from digging the dandelion roots. There's the roots on top of my leather bag over there. And then look at this big patch of dandelions, huge dandelions. The dogs love to lay on them. The leaves are nice and cool and refreshing. So you can see the dogs just love to lay on the dandelions. And then, in addition to the dandelions, we also have quite a bit of chicory. Chicory is kind of a close relative to dandelion and has some similar uses. We have a whole lot of spearmint, way too much spearmint. I need to start digging that out this year and get rid of it because it will just take over. There's more spearmint right there and more spearmint over there. But look at this. Oh, hey, there's my pea jars. One of the best ways to keep deer out of your garden, if you don't have a fence that's tall enough, is put a jar at every fence post and pee in it in the morning. And the deer will not come into your garden. Eventually I got a fence that's 8 feet tall, and so that did the job. But until then, I just used natural defenses. Look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. This is sheep sorrel. I'm going to get a close-up. I don't know how well the camera's going to do. Look at these blooms. Sheep sorrel is a very potent anti-cancer herb. It's one of the key ingredients in the famous Essiac tea, which is a well-known herbal formula for fighting cancer. And look, I've got a nice patch of it all through here and over there. Nice big patch. I also have a big patch of it in our backyard as well. Our backyard, which is supposed to be a lawn, but it's more of a weed patch. My son went out there to do some weed eating and clear all the tall grass and the chicory out of the backyard. And I told him to leave the sheep sorrel. Okay, so I figured I would go ahead and show the results of what I made with those dandelion roots. This is the beginning of my dandelion root tincture. And I'm sorry that I did not show you the individual steps that I went through, but I just wanted to get it done and not mess with the camera at every step. But you can see here in the bottom that the roots are all chopped up. So basically what I did is I just cleaned them. I washed off all the dirt and got them clean. And then once they were clean, I put them in the blender and I added into the whole roots, you know, the big long stringy roots. With all those, I dumped in 1 cup of Everclear, which is 190 proof alcohol, or 95% alcohol by volume. So I dumped in a cup of Everclear, and that did what, you know, sometimes you might add in water so that you can get something really blending in the blender. You can get it, you know, going around really well. I use the Everclear to do that because the Everclear is what I wanted for my tincture anyway. This liquid is mostly Everclear. So I just put in the whole roots and a cup of Everclear into the blender, blended it until it was coarsely ground. And then I used another cup of Everclear to kind of rinse out the blender and get everything rinsed into this jar. And then I added in a little bit of vodka because for this amount of herb, I wanted to have a larger volume of liquid to extract the medicinal properties into. So now as this sits in here, both the water and the alcohol that are combined in this mixture are going to be extracting the medicinal properties into the liquid portion. So we want both water and alcohol. Because it's a root, I went more for the alcohol and not too much water. But anyway, that's just for the purpose of this video. That's neither here nor there. That gets into more of the intricacies of how do you make tinctures. And I chose a green jar for a very specific reason, and it was the only jar available. It's what I had in my cupboard. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the cupboard in a dark place. Normally we would not have it in strong sunlight like where I have it right now, but this is just for a short duration as I make this video. I'll store it in a dark cupboard, and then every day I'll pick it up and I will shake it. That will make sure that every one of these particles comes back into contact with the alcohol and water mixture so that we get a proper extract. And then I'll put a label on it saying today's date and what the ingredients are. And that is it. That is dandelion root tincture. Oh, and I'll store it for about 8 weeks. I should have said that too. I'll store it for about 6 to 8 weeks, and then it'll be ready to use. So that is dandelion. Do not throw them away. Do not throw them away. Use them. If you do throw them away, do like I did. Use them for mulch or compost. Don't spray poison on them. Don't throw them to some part of the yard where you don't want, where you're just not interested. Use them in your compost pile if nothing else. But excellent, excellent herb right there.